After a series of leaks, EA has released Apex Legends, not quite by surprise, but near enough, and I think it's safe to say it's causing a bit of a stir among the Battle Royale community. With a smaller player count, mandatory 3-person squads, and Overwatch-style character classes, it's carved out a good niche for itself alongside the likes of COD Blackout, PUBG and Fortnite, and I for one am really enjoying it. There are so many smart features, design quirks and interesting genre refinements, in fact, that I decided to do one big list of 11 things I like about Apex Legends. Let's get cracking, shall we? First up, not that it's any great surprise, but Apex Legends feels like a really solid shooter. Respawn Entertainment knows what it's doing, of course. Its last release was Titanfall 2, which is a genuinely brilliant game, and Vince Zampella used to be CEO of Call of Duty developer Infinity Ward. With that kind of development pedigree behind it, Apex Legends is a shooter that not only handles well, but provides action that's easy to read. If something happens, like you kill a player or somebody else takes you out, you know why that happened. You know when you've hit someone, and you know when you've missed, which is not always true in games like PUBG. Apex Legends is also a shooter that's very fast, thanks to its small map size and the movement mechanics like sliding downhill to speed up, but it's not too fast. Battle Royale games in particular have a very thin line to tread between being an over-caffeinated blur or being 20 minutes of picking up loot followed by 10 seconds of action, and Apex Legends currently strikes that balance very well. Part of the reason it's easy to follow, and indeed the next thing on this list, is down to the ping ability, which is frankly fantastic. With a click of the mouse wheel, you can highlight an item to tell others it's there, a point on the map or in your field of vision to suggest the squad goes to that place. You can ping items in your inventory in case you're, for example, running low on ammo, and best of all, you can hit the ping button twice to alert the rest of the squad to enemies. It's a really simple mechanic that allows you to share a whole wealth of information really quickly without ever having to use the mic. Perfect if, like me, you aren't especially keen on talking to strangers. In some ways, actually, it's quicker and more effective to ping than it is to say things out loud. The ping can also come in really handy in tandem with some of the character abilities. For example, I'm really enjoying playing as Bloodhound at the minute because their ability to scan their immediate surroundings for hostiles is great. At one point my squad was taking potshots at some enemies in the distance when I got a funny feeling and scanned the building we were in just to be sure. The scan confirmed there were enemies nearby, so I double-pinged the floor at our feet, and suddenly the whole squad turned around and braced for contact. And it worked! We took out the other squad, where before we probably would have been ambushed and killed. It was great! All in all, Apex Legends is a game that feeds you lots of information without being cluttered or confusing. The voice cues from characters go a long way to helping with this. Having your squad mates automatically remind you how far away the safe zone is and how long you have to get there is a simple touch, but is incredibly useful, making it very hard to accidentally spend too long looting and end up in trouble. These mechanics aren't especially new, of course. Pinging items and using character dialogue to share information is something we've been used to for years now, thanks to games like Left 4 Dead or Vermintide, but having them on offer in a Battle Royale game, where vigilance is absolutely key, is really refreshing. The next thing I like about Apex Legends is that, while the shooting is solid, the game itself is also fairly forgiving. As in other Battle Royales, you get downed or knocked by your enemies, and then if you bleed out or take too much damage, you'll die. In Apex Legends, however, it's not necessarily over at that point. After you die, your teammates have roughly a minute and a half to get to your body and collect your banner, which is basically your player card. With that, they can then get to a dedicated station and revive you, calling in a little vehicle that allows you to drop from the sky, albeit without any loot, and continue the action. Being revived in this way is actually kind of stressful, especially if it's happening in the late game, but it's nice to be given the chance to return to the battlefield. Also, waiting to see if you're in with a shot at resurrection is a good reason to stick around for a minute or two after you've been killed, whereas ordinarily, being wiped out is enough to make people quit out to the main main menu and just find another match. It's all about team coherency, in other words, which is also reflected in the next item on our list of things what Apex Legends does good, and that's the Jumpmaster. When you're in the plane in Apex Legends, one of the team is nominated as the Jumpmaster. While waiting to drop, everyone is free to ping the map and suggest places to land, but the Jumpmaster is the one who actually gets to decide, guiding all 3 characters down to the ground once they've left the plane. It guarantees that the squad will land together, which is great, as getting spread out by mistake is really dangerous in any Battle Royale game. The drops are also really quick, thanks to your jetpacks, and with coloured streamers showing where each team is going, it's really easy to get a sense of where the enemies are dropping and, if necessary, to adjust your plans accordingly. The Jumpmaster isn't a tyrannical position though, it has to be said, because if you really want to, you can choose to peel off and make your own landing. This is mostly useful when you're just about to touch down, spreading the squad out to make sure you aren't all looting the same building, but it also comes in handy for those lone wolf players who want to split off and die alone because they think they know better than everybody else. Now, I mentioned looting a moment ago, and of course, this being a Battle Royale game, it's extremely important in Apex Legends. So it's good news, the looting system is the next item on the list of things I really like about the game. Instead of putting you through a brief pickup animation every time you want to grab something, loot snaps into your inventory in the blink of an eye. What's more, weapons come with a full magazine, even if there's no ammo next to it, so as long as you can find a gun, you can defend yourself, which is vital in those heart-pounding opening moments where you've dropped with a bunch of enemies and everyone's trying to punch their rivals to death. Ammo is colour-coded between light, heavy, energy and special, with the ammo count on your gun matching the type of ammo you're after, so it's easy to prioritise the stuff you really need when dashing about the place. It's a shame the guns aren't as clearly visible as the ammo boxes, sometimes it's easy to miss them, but all in all the looting system is really smart. Of particular note is the way compatible attachments swap automatically if you pick up a new gun. So, if you've decided to swap weapons, you don't need to waste time removing your sights and re-equipping them, it just happens. And in a game that's all about speed, that's a brilliant touch. Talking of speed, the next thing on our list is sliding, because it is extremely good fun. At any point while sprinting, you can fall onto your butt and slide along the ground, which is useful for getting into cover, or doing a nifty little slide past your enemies. Most importantly though, sliding downhill increases your speed, meaning with the right terrain, you can absolutely tear across the map, whether that's toward or away from danger. Jump sliding is a pretty great way to get around in general, even if there aren't any big hills to take advantage of, so it's good to get into the habit of sliding about all the time. It also makes you harder to shoot. Combined with a decent climbing ability and some zip lines, movement in Apex Legends is really pleasing, really driving home the feeling of speed and precision. And I'll admit, when I initially heard there was no double jump or wall running, I was a bit disappointed. These were the things that made Titanfall 2, an excellent shooter, what it is, and yet this game, set in the same universe, doesn't have them. Now I've played, on the other hand, I am no longer bothered. I think Respawn has pitched it just right. With the amount of jumping and sliding involved, the next thing on my list of things I really like about Apex Legends is undoubtedly the fact there is no fall damage. Frankly, it's a godsend, especially when you consider just how much verticality there is to the game. I spend loads of time in each match throwing myself off buildings or down ravines, and knowing I'll land safely at the bottom is a massive comfort. And I can't really talk about verticality and getting about swiftly without at least giving a nod to the zipline balloons dotted about the map. Attach yourself to one of these and you'll zip to the very top and then activate your jetpack, flinging yourself across the map as if you just jumped out of the plane. It's great for repositioning on your enemies or getting somewhere quickly if you've been screwed over by the safe zone, for example. It's great! And of course, I can't talk about everything there is to like in Apex Legends without at least touching on the characters. Having distinct builds and abilities for each one is a really nice touch, adding a refreshing new element to the Battle Royale action that kind of scratches that Overwatch itch, although with only so many characters to choose from at the moment, and loot drops being random, it's nowhere near as deep or complex a metagame, which is no bad thing. Picking your characters is also pretty nice. Doing it in a randomised order is fairly civilised, preventing people from squabbling over who gets to play as whom. And anyway, with only 3 people in the squad, it's easy to pick someone else and balance the team, even if your favourite has already been snapped up. And finally, the next thing I like about Apex Legends is that it's up close and personal. Even with sniper rifles on offer, reliably picking people off at range is tricky at best, owing to the movement speed and shields increasing how much damage you need to pour into an enemy in order to take them out. Apex Legends is much more fun and more consistently rewarding if you only engage at medium to close distance, either by storming your opponents or trying to get a good flank on them. It's no real surprise, given Titanfall operates on effectively the same principles, but in my opinion it just makes for a better experience. And there you have it, 11 things I like about Apex Legends. What do you make of it? Are you enjoying it? Do you think it will last, or will you be back playing Fortnite before the end of the month? Give us your thoughts in the comments below. Hopefully you found this video interesting. If you did, there are loads more for you to watch. Some of them should be on screen now, so do give one of those a click. Do like, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss anything else from Eurogamer, but most importantly, thank you very much for watching and have a lovely day.
Let's go this way. Heard that.